Okay. All right. We're live now. Let me get the cloud recording going. Let me see here.
I've invited a few, so
Okay.
okay. If they come on,
All right. Let's see. Recording to the cloud. All right. We're live and recording to the cloud. Shalom, everyone. I'm Brother Doug with the Awakened by Yahuwah Fellowship Assembly and Yahuwah Almighty and Yahusha Messiah. Today we are going to be continuing our weekly Haftarah reading, and I'll be starting us off with the Torah portion, Exodus 30 to 34, and I will be reading out of my Lexham English Septuagint, and I also will be putting on the screen my eSword, so viewers and listeners can follow along. Let me see here. All right, here we go. See here. Okay. We're going to want LXXE. Okay, here we go. Now, let me just turn to it here. Okay, here we go. And you shall make an altar for incense out of wood that does not deteriorate, and you shall make it the length of a cubit. Sorry. And the width of a cubit. It shall be square, and its height 2 cubits, and its horns shall be of the same piece, and you shall cover it with pure gold. Its grate and its sides all round, and its horns. And you shall make a twisted gold molding all around for it, and you shall prepare 2 pure golden rings. By the way, if you're wondering what this is describing, it's the altar of incense. Below its braided rim, along its 2 sides, you shall construct these on its 2 sides. Sorry, guys. Man, my throat's dry today. All right. For the poles carrying it by them. And you shall shape the poles out of wood that does not deteriorate. You shall overlay them with gold, and you shall place it in front of the veil that is next to the ark of the testimony, at which I will make myself known to you from there. And Aaron will sacrifice a fine compounded incense upon it every morning. Whenever he readies the lamps, he shall burn incense upon it. And whenever Aaron kindles the lamps in the evening, you shall burn incense upon it. Incense of perpetuity always before Yahuwah throughout their generations. And you shall not offer any other incense, burnt offering, or sacrifice upon it. And you shall not pour a drink offering upon it. And Aaron will make atonement on behalf of it upon its horns once a year. He will cleanse it with the blood of purification throughout their generations. It is most set apart to Yahuwah. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, whenever you take a census of the sons of Yasharal, in the process of numbering them, each one will give a ransom price for his life to Yahuwah. There will be no calamity among them during the process of numbering them. This is what they who pass through numbering will give: a half of a didrachma, which is according to the set apart didrachma. There are 20 obels per didrachma, but half of the didrachma. Hold on, we got someone in the waiting room here. I think it's Sister Josie. Sorry. All right, what verse was I at, Mom?
I think you were somewhere around 14, weren't you?
Okay.
There's no time to sleep. No.
Okay. Everyone, which is according to the set apart didrachma, there are 20 obels per didrachma, but half of a didrachma is the contribution to Yahuwah. Everyone of 20 years and older who passes through in numbering will give the contribution offering to Yahuwah. Okay, so now we're going to be at verse 15 here. Okay. All right. Okay. The rich will not increase, and the poor will not decrease the half didrachma when giving his contribution offering to Yahuwah to make atonement for your lives. Me personally, I think Paul was quoting from this when he said, you were bought with a price. He's connecting that Yahusha's blood, instead of money, ransomed us, which is kind of interesting. So and then it talks about obviously atonement too, which connects to Yahusha. All right, verse 16 here. And you shall receive silver for the contribution offering from the sons of Yasharal, and receive the silver, and you shall put it toward the expenses of the tent of witness, and it will be a memorial for the sons of Yasharal before Yahuwah to make atonement for your lives. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, make a bronze wash basin, a bronze base for washing, and place it between the tent of witness and the altar, and pour water into it. And Aaron and his sons will wash their hands and their feet with water from it whenever they enter into the tent of witness. They shall wash with water, and they will not die when they proceed to the altar to minister and to offer up whole burnt offerings to Yahuwah. They shall wash their hands and their feet with water whenever they enter into the tent of witness. They will wash with water in order that they will not die. It will be an eternal ordinance for them, for him, and for his generations after him. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, and as for you, take sweet spices, select flowering myrrh, 500 shekels, and half of this amount of fragrant cinnamon, 250 shekels, sweet smelling reeds, 250, and cassia, 500 set apart 500 set apart place shekels. Yeah. And oil from the olives, a hin, and you shall prepare it, a set apart oil for anointing. An ointment by the skill of a perfumer. It will be a set apart oil for anointing. And you shall anoint the tent of witness with it, and the ark of the testament, and the lampstand and all its utensils, and the tent of witness and all its vessels, and the altar for burning incense, and the altar of whole burnt offerings and all its utensils, and the table and all its utensils, and the basin. You shall set apart these things, and they will be most set apart. Anyone who touches them will become set apart, and you shall anoint Aaron and his sons and set them apart to serve me as priests. And you shall speak to the sons of Yasharal, saying, this oil for the purpose of anointing will be set apart to you throughout your generations. It shall not be applied on human flesh. Okay. And it shall not be made for yourselves in like manner according to this composition. It is set apart and will be a set apart thing for you. Whoever makes anything just like it, and whoever gives some of it to a foreigner, will be utterly destroyed from his people. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, take sweet spices stacked anika, sweet galbanum, and clear frankincense for yourself. There will be an equal part for each, and they shall make aromatic incense with it, and the work of a perfumer, excuse me, compounded together, a pure product set apart. And you shall beat the product of these very fine, and you shall place it in front of in front of the witnesses in the tent of witness, from where I will make myself known to you from there. It will be it will be most set apart to you. You shall not make incense according to this composition for yourselves. It shall be a set apart offering with respect to you for Yahuwah. You will destroy from his people whoever makes anything just like it to smell. So I'm going to get some water before I read. Yeah, I definitely need to get a drink. Get a drink of water here. My throat is very dry today. See here. So what we just read about is the bronze basin. See here, the altar of incense, and obviously the tax, which interestingly enough connects to Yahusha, according to what Paul says. The ransom for our souls. So very interesting stuff. So we're about to get into 31, which is going to deal with making the tent of witness, actually.
Is that the same as the tent of meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
The reason I call it the tent of witness is because it says in older Bibles the tent of testimony.
Okay.
Like it will literally say in English the tent of testimony. So the tent of meeting is like a more modern translation of that.
Okay.
But usually it will say the tent of witness, tent of testimony.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the King James.
Mm-hmm.
So just get some nice cold water here. All right. Let's see here. All right. Yeah. So very strict rules for that. Those incenses, man. Whew.
Yep. Well, his recipe, you might want to say, is really like a first fruit. You know, that's for him. That's meant for him. It's not meant for anybody else. It's not meant for you to enjoy. That's meant for him.
Well, it's also meant for the priesthood.
Yeah.
It's meant for Aaron. No one else is really supposed to use it.
Yeah.
It's meant for Aaron and his sons.
Right.
The purpose of all that was meant to anoint them.
I wonder how many
As
sons
priests.
he had, because he lost 2 of them,
Yeah.
and then he still had quite a few to
Well,
become the priests.
the thing is, it goes from one generation to the next
Yeah.
because they retire at 50.
Oh.
So whoever's next son in line would be starting. So
Mhm.
so it's not like he needed many sons,
Mhm.
because once one of his sons is 50 and they have a son
Mhm.
that's old enough to start, that one of his grandsons could even start. You know,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, they had a nice retirement plan. Yahuwah gave them a nice retirement plan. Work until 50, then you're good. Here we go. All right, Exodus chapter 31. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, Look, I have called Bezalel by name, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, and I have filled him with a divine spirit for wisdom. Interesting. And actually, in older versions of the Septuagint, it would actually, instead of for wisdom, it would say, I filled him with a divine spirit of wisdom, which he's talking about basically spirit of Messiah there.
Mhm.
Now, if you look at your Masoretic text, it would say the spirit of Elohim.
Mhm.
So, which again, Paul in his letters says one spirit,
Mhm.
one baptism, and for understanding, for craftsmanship in every type of project. Oh, my bad. I think I read ahead a little bit. And I have filled him. Oh, no. Okay. For a divine spirit of wisdom, for understanding, for craftsmanship, every type of project, to devise creative designs, and to be a master workman, to work with gold and silver, and bronze and blue and purple material, and scarlet spun yarn, and in stone carving, and in skilled carpentry work with wood, to work according to all the tasks. And I myself have given him in Aholiab, the son of Ahisamach of the tribe of Dan, and I have given understanding to every sagacious heart, so that they will produce everything that I have commanded you. The tent of witness, and the ark of the covenant, and the mercy seat which is upon it, and the accessories of the tent, and the altars, and the table, and all its utensils, and the pure gold lampstand, and all its utensils, and the basin and its base, and the ministering garments of Aaron, and the garments of his sons to serve me as priests, and the anointing oil, and the incense of the set apart composition, they will do according to everything that I myself commanded you. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, And as for you, charge the sons of Yasharal, saying, See, and you shall observe my Sabbaths. It is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, so that you may know that I, Yahuwah, am the one that sets you apart. And you will keep the Sabbaths, because this is a set apart thing of Yahuwah for you. The one who profanes it will be put to death. Everyone who performs work on it that person will be utterly destroyed from among his people. For 6 days you shall perform common labor. On the seventh day are the Sabbaths, a set apart rest for Yahuwah. Anyone who will do labor on the seventh day will be put to death. And the sons of Yasharal shall keep the Sabbaths, doing them throughout their generations. It is an eternal covenant with me and the sons of Yasharal, and an eternal sign with me, because in 6 days Yahuwah established the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day he stopped and ceased his work. And when he had finished speaking to him on Mount Sinai, he gave Moshe the 2 tablets of witness, the tablets of stone, inscribed by the finger of Elohim. So before we go to Exodus 32, I did not like how that verse was translated in my Lexham. Let me see here. I'm going to go to my Bretons here and see how it's translated. Yeah. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heaven and the earth, and on the seventh day he ceased and rested. And the reason I wanted to emphasize that is because, there's gap theorists out there that want to say, oh, the day age theory and this and that a day is an age. No. In 6 literal days, Yahuwah made the earth. So you can't believe in the gap theory and believe in the scriptures. The gap theory literally was created by Christians that wanted to cater to evolution, basically. That's the only reason the gap theory exists. It's the only reason it exists, because they didn't know how to combat evolution. So if you take scripture for what it literally says, 6 literal 24-hour days, Yahuwah made the heavens and the earth. All right. So anyway, end of my little rant there. Okay, here we go. Exodus 32, the golden calf. When the people saw that Moshe continued to delay coming down from the mountain, the people pressed Aaron and said to him, "Get up and make mighty ones for us who will go before us. Because this Moshe, the man who led us out from Egypt, we do not know what has happened to him." And Aaron responded to them, "Remove the gold earrings that are in the ears of your wives, daughters, then bring them to me." And all the people took off gold earrings in their ears and brought them to Aaron. And he took them from their hands and formed them with the engraving tool and made them into a golden calf. Oh, my bad, a molten calf, and announced, "These are your mighty ones, Yasharal, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt." And seeing, Aaron constructed an altar right before it, and Aaron proclaimed, saying, "A festival to Yahuwah tomorrow." And rising early the next day, they sent up whole burnt offerings and brought sacrifices of well-being. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and got up to play. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, "Go on quickly from here, go down, for your people who you led." Yahuwah doesn't want to claim them anymore. He's like, yo, they're your people, man. It's kind of like how the parents see how rebellious their children are. That's like, that's your child.
Son.
That's your
son
child.
Did that.
Oh man. That's just a little humor there. Oh man. Go quickly from here. Go down, for your people whom you led out of the land of Egypt have acted lawlessly. They have quickly turned away from the way which I commanded them. They have made a calf for themselves and have worshipped it and said, these are your mighty ones, Yasharal, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt, and now leave me alone. And I am wrathful with anger against them, and I will destroy them.
Okay, you're gonna come?
And I will make you into a great nation.
I don't know.
And Masha prayed before Yahuwah Elohim and said, for what purpose, O Yahuwah, are you wrathful with anger against your people, whom you have led out of Egypt with great power, upraised arm? What if the Egyptians speak, saying he led them out with an evil intent to kill them in the mountains and utterly destroy them, from intent to kill them in the to utterly destroy them from the earth? Stop the anger of your wrath and be merciful towards the evil of your people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, your servants, to whom you swore by yourself, and spoke to them, saying, I will multiply your seed by a multitude like the stars of the heavens. And all this land which you claimed to give them, and they will possess it for eternity. And Yahuwah was favorably inclined to preserve his people. And turning away, Masha went down from the mountain. And the 2 tablets of the witness were in his hands, and the tablets of stone inscribed on both parts of them, and they were inscribed on one side and on the other. And the tablets were the work of Elohim, and the writing was the very writing of Elohim engraved on the tablets. And Yahusha, hearing the voice of the people crying out, said to Masha, there is a sound of war in the camp. And he said, it is not a sound of those who are led out in might, nor a sound of those who are led out in retreat, but rather a sound of those who are led out in wine that I'm hearing. Let me see here. See here. Lost my place.
19.
Verse 19. Okay. Oh yeah. And when he was drawing near to the camp, he saw the calf and the dancers, and having grown angry with wrath, Masha cast the 2 tablets from his hands and shattered them at the base of the mountain. And after taking the calf that they have made, he burned it in the fire and grounded it to powder and scattered it in the water and made the sons of Yasharal drink it. And then Masha said to Aaron, what did this people do to you so that you have brought upon them such a great sin? And Aaron said to Masha, do not be angry, master, for you yourself know the impulsiveness of this people. For they kept saying to me, make mighty ones for us who will go before us. For this man Masha, who led us out of Egypt, we do not know what has happened to him. And I said to them, if anyone has gold, remove it. And they gave it to me, and I threw it into the fire. And out came this calf. And when Masha saw the people, that they were scattered, for Aaron had caused them to scatter, a mockery for their enemies. And Masha stood by the entrance of the camp and said, whoever is with Yahuwah should come to me. Therefore, all the sons of Levi gathered. And he said to them, this is what Yahuwah, the Elohim of Yasharal, says. Each one fasten his own sword upon his thigh and pass through and turn back from gate to gate throughout the encampment. And each one kill his brother, his kinsman, each one his neighbor. And the sons of Levi acted just as Moshe instructed them, and about 3,000 men of the people fell on that day. And Moshe said to them, you have ratified the hands today to Yahuwah, each of you against his son or his brother, for a baraka to be given upon you. And it happened with the next day, Moshe said to the people, you yourselves have sinned a great sin, but now I will go up to Elohim in order that I may make atonement concerning your guilt. And Moshe returned to Yahuwah and said, I beg you, O Yahuwah, these people have sinned a great sin, and they have made mighty ones of gold for themselves. And now, if you are going to forgive them their sin, forgive. But if not, wipe me out of your book that you have written. Yahuwah said to Moshe, if someone has sinned, I will wipe them out of my book. But you go on, go down and lead this people into the territory about which I told you. Look, my angel will go ahead of you, and on the day I visit, I will bring their sin upon them. And Yahuwah struck the people concerning the production of the calf which Aaron had made. So that's the end of chapter 32. Now we're about to get to the point where they're leaving Mount Sinai.
Another mention of Yahusha here.
Yeah, the first real mentioning of the angel of Yahuwah here since Exodus 3. So
Right.
so
Exodus 23, 20, 21.
yeah, I forgot about that chapter. Yeah. So yeah, that
Brother, who's the angel of Yahuwah?
Yahusha.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, I believe so. A lot of Christians also believe so. I mainly believe so because if you look at the Targums of the Torah, it's very clear that's the case. Sometimes where it says in the Septuagint or the Masoretic text, the angel of Yahuwah, the Targums in the same exact chapter and verse will say the word of Yahuwah. So the authors of the Targums knew who the angel of Yahuwah was. They whether they accepted Yahusha as the Messiah or not, they knew that this character known as the word of Yahuwah was the same person as the messenger of Yahuwah. So yeah. But yeah, I've noticed that that's kind of given me extra witnesses because I always believed that growing up in the Christian church. I just always something always clicked with me, especially when looking at the burning bush, because Yahusha says, before Abraham in John 8, I am. He's calling himself the Asher Ahaya, and the angel of Yahuwah is the one who burned the bush. So
And that's where Yahuwah says, I am who I am. Who said, if they ask you who sent me, say, I am who I am. So
yeah,
when
and
he,
then the next verse, but the next verse says, you shall go to the sons of Israel and tell them Yahuwah, the Elohim of your fathers has sent me to you. So I am the Asher Ahaya is not a name, it's a title. It means he's basically saying to Masha, I am who I say I am. I am who I am. And I know we have brothers and sisters that think Ahaya is his name. No, that's not what that text is saying. It's the same misconception about Emmanuel. So the
Emmanuel means God. It means Yah with us.
yeah,
Doesn't mean God.
yeah, it means actually the best literal interpretation of Emmanuel means Elohim with us. Because you got the suffix all, among you, also among you supposedly means with us, and all Elohim. So yeah. So basically, Emmanuel is a sign. That name Emmanuel is a sign that Elohim would be with us, dwelling with us as a human. That's the point of that prophecy.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so there, like everything, there's a reason Yahuwah uses certain titles and names. He doesn't waste titles. So yeah, but yeah, so this angel that is referenced here at the end of 32 is the same one that was in the burning bush that he's going to send before him. Send before Masha and Yasharal, and do not disobey him, because he will not pardon your sin, which is very interesting if you want to look that up in Exodus 23:13, because a lot of people look at Yahusha like this little 1970s hippie guy, but in Exodus 23:13, Yahuwah warns Masha and the Israelites, do not disobey him. See here, what's the exact what is it, 23:21, Brother Dennis? Do you remember what chapter?
Yeah, it's Exodus 23, 20 and 21. For I'm sending you a messenger. Do not disobey his voice, for he will not pardon you as I have, for my name is in his name.
Yeah. Here.
Again, say that Exodus 20 and 21.
Yeah, Exodus 23, verses 20 and 21.
Yeah. And behold, I send my angel before your face, that he may keep you in the way. I find it interesting. The Septuagint says in the way, the way, the truth, the life. That he may bring you into the land which I have prepared for you. Take heed to yourself and hearken to him. Disobey him not, for he will not give way to you, for my name is on him. And obviously that connects to John 5:43. I've come in my Father's name. So, yeah. All right. I think we're at chapter 33 of Exodus now. Let me just take another swig of my water. Okay. The command to leave Sinai. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, Go on up from here, you and your people whom you have led out of the land of Egypt, into the land that I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I will give it to your seed, and I will send my angel along before your face and drive out the Amorite, Hittite, Perizzite, Girgashite, Hivite, Jebusite, and I will bring you into a land flowing with milk and honey. For I will certainly not go up with you because of the stiff-necked people that you are, lest I consume you on the way. And the people, hearing this ominous report, lamented grievously. And Yahuwah said to the sons of Yasharal, you are a stiff-necked people. Watch out, lest I myself bring another plague upon you and destroy you. Therefore, remove your splendid garments and ornaments now, and I will show you what I will do to you. And the sons of Yasharal took off their ornaments and their adornments from Mount Horeb onward. and Masha, taking his tent, pitched it outside the camp, a long distance from the camp, and it was called Tent of Witness. And it happened, anyone seeking Yahuwah would go out to the tent, which was outside the camp. And whenever Masha went out to the tent outside the camp, all the people would stand watching, each one beside the doors of his tent, and observe intently from the time Masha departed until he entered into the tent. And whenever Masha entered into the tent, the pillar of cloud came down and stood at the door of the tent, and it spoke with Masha, and all the people were watching the pillar of cloud standing at the door of the tent. And after standing, all the people bowed down, each one from the door of his tent, and Yahuwah spoke with Masha face to face, just as when a person talks with his own friend. And he would return to the encampment. But the attendant, Yahusha, son of Nun, did not go out of the tent. And Masha said to Yahuwah, look, you yourself say to me, lead this people up, but you yourself have not made known to me whom you will send along with me. Yet you said to me, I know you more than any other, and indeed you have favor before me. If therefore I have found favor before you, show yourself to me, that I may see you clearly, so that I might find favor before you, that I might know that this great nation is your people. And he responded to him, if you yourself do not go along and do not lead me up from here, how will it really be known that I have found favor before you? Both I and your people, except if you go along together with us, and I will be honored, both I and your people, from all the peoples that are upon the earth. And Yahuwah said to Masha, indeed, I will do this thing for you, which you have said. For you have found favor before me, and I know you more than any other person. And Masha said, manifest yourself to me. And Elohim said, I myself will pass by in front of you in my esteem, and I will speak on my name, Yahuwah, before you. I will have mercy upon whoever I will have mercy. I will have compassion upon whomever I will have compassion. And he said, you cannot see my face, for a human cannot see my face and live. And Yahuwah said, look, a place beside me. Stand on this rock, and when my splendor passes by, then I will put you into a cleft of the rock, and I will shelter you with my hand over you until I have passed by, and then I will take my hand away. Then you will see what is behind me, but my face will not appear to you. It's very interesting because we see this constantly in where it seems like it's a contradiction, because we see these people, the patriarchs, they see the Father, but they really didn't see the Father. This is where I think Yahusha comes into play here. Because according to Paul, we can go to Colossians here, he is the exact image of the Father. So meaning he is the physical embodiment. He is the exact image. here we go. It's actually in Hebrews. Okay. Let me see here. Ooh. Okay, Hebrews 1:3. The Son radiates Elohim's own esteem and expresses the very character of Elohim, and he sustains everything by the mighty power of his command. When he has, okay, so that's a different thing there. Okay, I'm looking for, probably the wording is different. Okay, the exact representation maybe. Where where is that verse? He is the image of the invisible Elohim. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. It's Colossians 1:15. Okay. He who is the image of the unseen Elohim and is preeminent over all creation. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so we just read 33. Okay. Last chapter here, Exodus 34. All right. Okay. So the new tablets of stone and the renewal of the covenant. Okay. Let's make sure I read the rest of this chapter. Okay. Look at the place to stand on the side of this rock. Until I pass. Yeah, okay. Exodus 34. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, carve out for yourself 2 tablets of stone, just like the first ones, and come up to me on the mountain. And I will engrave on the tablets the words that were on the first tablets that you shattered. And get ready for the morning and ascend Mount Sinai and stand there with me on the top of the mountain. And no one should come up with you or appear in all the mountain. And flocks and oxen should not graze next to that mountain. And he hewed out 2 stones of 2 tablets of stone, just like the first set. And rising early, Moshe went up to Mount Sinai, just as Yahuwah had charged him. And Moshe took the 2 stone tablets along, and Yahuwah descended in a cloud and stood near him there, and he called out in the name of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah passed by right before him, and he called out, Yahuwah Elohim, compassionate and merciful, long-suffering, and full of mercy and trustworthy, maintaining righteousness and mercy to thousands, forgiving lawlessness and unrighteousness and sin. And he does not acquit the guilty, bringing the lawlessness of the fathers upon the children of the children, down to the 3rd and 4th generation. And acting quickly, Moshe, bending down to the earth, bowed, and he said, if I have found favor before you, may my master go along with us, for the people is stiff-necked. And you yourself take away our sins and our lawlessnesses, we will be yours. And Yahuwah announced to Moshe, look, I am setting a covenant in place for you. I will perform wonders in the presence of all your people, which have not occurred anywhere in the earth or among any nations. And all the people among whom you yourself live will see the actions of Yahuwah, because the things that I myself will perform on your behalf are marvelous. Be mindful, you yourself, regarding everything that I myself have commanded you. Look, I am casting out the Amorite, Canaanite, Perizzite, Hittite, and Hivite, Girgashite, and Jebusite right before you. Be mindful of yourself, lest you establish a covenant with the dwellers in any land into which you are going into it, that it not become a snare for you among you. You shall take down their altars, you shall break up their sacred pillars, you shall cut down their sacred groves or Asherah poles, and you shall burn the graven images of their mighty ones in the fire. For you shall certainly not worship other mighty ones, for Yahuwah Elohim is jealous regarding his name. Elohim is zealous. What if you establish a covenant with the dwellers of the land, and they whore themselves after their mighty ones and sacrifice to their mighty ones, and they invite you, and you share their slain offerings, and you take some of their daughters for your sons and give your daughters to their sons, and your daughters whore after their gods, and your sons whore after their gods, and you shall not make molten gods for yourself, and you shall observe the festival of unleavened bread. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, just as I have commanded you, during the appointed time in the month of new grain. For you came out of Egypt in the month of new grain. As for everything that opens the womb, the males are mine. Every firstborn of calves and firstborn of sheep, and you shall redeem the firstborn of a beast of burden with a sheep. But if you will not redeem it, you shall pay its value. You shall redeem every firstborn of your sons. You shall not appear before me empty-handed. You shall work 6 days, but on the 7th day you will stop. You will stop in seed time and in harvest time, and you shall observe the festival of weeks for me, the first fruits of the wheat harvest, and the beginning of ingathering in the middle of the year. 3 times in the year, every male from among you will appear before Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal, when I cast the nations out right before you, and I expand your boundaries. No one will desire to possess your land when you come up to present yourself before Yahuwah your Elohim. 3 times in the year you shall slay no blood of my sacrifices upon leaven, and sacrifices for the feast of Passover shall not remain until the morning. You shall bring the best of the first fruits of your land into the house of Yahuwah your Elohim. You shall not present a kid in its mother's milk. And I don't like how they translate it as present. It should say you shall not boil. Okay. So basically the command here is talking about do not boil a baby goat in its own mother's milk. So this has nothing to do with cheeseburgers, okay? And Yahuwah said to Masha, write these words down for yourself, for I am establishing a covenant among these words with you and Yasharal. And Masha was there in the presence of Yahuwah 40 days and 40 nights. He did not eat food. He did not drink water. He wrote these words upon tablets of the covenant, the 10 words. And Masha came down out of the mountain and the 2 tablets were of Masha. But as he descended from the mountain, Masha did not know the appearance of the skin of his face began to glow when he spoke to him. And Aaron and all the elders of Yasharel saw Masha, and the appearance of the skin of his face was radiant, and they were afraid to go near him. And Masha summoned them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation turned and came toward him. And Masha spoke to them, and after these things, all the sons of Yasharel commanded him on Mount Sinai. And when he had finished speaking to them, he placed a veil over his face. But whenever Masha would enter into the presence of Yahuwah to speak to him, he would remove the veil until he came out. And upon going out, he would address all the sons of Yasharel about whatever Yahuwah had commanded him. And the sons of Yasharel saw the face of Masha that had become radiant, and Masha replaced the veil on his face until he entered to talk with him. And that is the end of chapter 34. Very interesting last part of 34, which connects with Paul when he's talking about, head coverings. I actually believe the head covering thing is actually talking about veiling yourself. And it more correctly from the Greek should have been translated as veil. So when it's talking about women should have their heads covered, it probably would be more correctly that they should have themselves veiled. And as you see there, Masha would not veil himself when talking to the Father. So it's kind of like the same thing where it talks about it's a shame if a man is had his head covered, if he's versus a woman, so yeah. Go ahead, Marissa. I see your hands up.
Okay. Marissa's question was this, and then I had a statement. What did I write down? The kid, you shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk. What does that mean? I mean, did they boil milk and throw a baby goat in it, or what?
Yeah, they I guess certain cultures would they would literally cook baby goat in its own mother's milk. Yeah. So basically, Yahuwah is taking them out of Egypt, and he's trying to give them, these commandments. And I guess in certain pagan cultures, I guess that's okay to, certain other cultures, like they would have no problem doing that. But yeah, it seems like there's a reason why Yahuwah is telling them to do that. Either other cultures historically did that, or there's a reason why he's given that commandment. So yeah, but the that commandment is mistakenly taken for today in Judaism. That commandment in the Torah has been misunderstood as you can't cook dairy with meat, and that's why certain religious Jewish people won't eat cheeseburgers.
Oh my goodness.
Different
Yeah.
states.
Like if you know any Hasidic Jews or Orthodox Jews, like that are very Talmudic, they'll be like that. If you go to a kosher deli, if you go to a kosher deli, they got separate sections for meat and cheese. They won't even have meat and cheese touch. They don't. Yeah, they completely don't understand that commandment.
That's also in the Muslims.
Wow, the Muslims do that too.
Yeah, because when I go shopping, their meats are different in different boxes, and I think separate meat, one here and cheeses are over there.
Yeah, but that's in any deli that you go to, at any grocery store, they
Mm.
have the meat separated from the
No,
cheese.
they don't. Stater Brothers, you can pick any kind of sandwich cheese you want and any kind of ham meat you want to make a sandwich. It's all in the same square box.
You haven't
Think
done
about it.
that,
No, but if
right?
you go to the deli and you have them cut it for you,
Yeah,
they have one section of the cheese and one
it's
section.
all in the same box. It's all in the same freezer box.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Doug, we were talking about the covering too, and Marissa said how the Catholics they wear the veil, and
Like they cover their face.
yes, and so
Huh.
how I was who showed me that because I'm in Frida, she's Frida has lots of her pictures with veils on. So me working in the library, I'm seeing some ancient stuff. And I believe that when the tribes were scattered and they went to Europe, they showed them the veiling. And so the women took it on.
Mhm.
And today they even at funerals they'll veil.
But is that something that they did, the Hebrew women? Did
Yeah.
they veil their heads?
Yeah,
I
they
believe-
there's a scripture in Numbers where where the bitter waters that a woman had to take her covering off. If I'm not mistaken, it said veil.
Because I thought that was
Um,
I thought that was a Catholic thing.
No, they got it from us.
Yeah,
Catholics-
just like the
yeah, just
Muslims
like the
get a lot of stuff from us.
Yep.
They,
We got
the
Okay, so-
Muslim women, if you look at Muslim women, they veil their faces too. They do the same thing too. But according to what we just read in Exodus, to me that kind of connects with what Paul talks about with the men, vice versa, with what Moses was doing there. When he would go into Yahuwah's presence, he would take the veil off. So, like how it talks about it's a shame for a man to be veiled when he's praying or prophesying. So the woman is supposed to be veiled or covered when praying or prophesying, but not the man.
And why do men have to put on a yarmulke before they go
Tradition.
to the temple?
Oh, yarmulke, Mom? You're talking about tradition. You're talking about Judaism. You're talking about the Talmud. You're talking
Now, what
about
about the
whole
sheiks?
nother.
Doug, you know the sheiks, how the men keep their heads tied all the time? That's kind of,
The
the sheik,
turban.
the sheik, they keep their heads with the turban on. That's how people think that they're Muslims.
oh yeah, turbans.
No.
Turbans are very. No, turbans are way before Turkish, Mom. Turbans are a Hebrew custom. If you look at the word miter in the Hebrew,
Okay, what if I get in?
miter just means miter is another word for turban. That's if you look at certain versions of the Bible, especially modern versions of the Bible in Exodus, it will actually talk about how when the garments of the Levites, how Aaron had to have a turban. So that's not exclusively to the church. That was way before the Turks. That a lot of civilizations copied the Hebrews in their culture. Because you got to understand too, Yahuwah scattered them throughout the whole earth. Obviously, some of their culture is going to rub off.
Yeah.
That's just going to happen. And I look at the Muslim religion like they pretty much try to rip us off, is what they did. Whoever really wrote the Quran, pretty much tried to make a book that was like a bootleg of the Bible. And so I mean their whole religion is copying and pasting little things that they like from the Bible. And even in their culture, the killing meat a certain way, where you think they got that from? Oh, I wonder where. Yahuwah tells us we need to kill animals a certain way in the Torah.
What?
So I mean, so
The stink is
but
big.
the Gibsons also have their hands up. Go ahead, Jefferson Kaya.
The smaller one?
So we've got a couple of things about the goat in the mother's milk thing. So the other day, I seen a sister put up that her kid said something when she was reading, scripture to her kid. Her kid was like, "Well, what does that mean? Does that mean to not cook a baby goat when it's so young that it's still in the mother's milk?" And I was like, "Oh, that kind of makes sense, So I've been kind of chewing on that idea. But Jeff is over here, and he just found some information that it comes from the occult.
Okay, so it's a pagan fertility practice. They did it with birds, baby birds in nests, as well as with baby goats boiled in their mother's milk, seethed in their mother's milk. They would make it into a milk where they would then, quote unquote, bless their fruit trees with it. And they would use it for fertility for their crops, like as a way to appease the, quote unquote, gods. And so whenever you hear it's like, for instance, it's when it's mentioned in Exodus, it says the first fruits of thy land thou shalt bring into the house of Yahuwah your Elohim, thou shalt not see the kid in his mother's milk. They're like right next to each other, right? And it's talking about bringing in your harvest. And so I'm just wondering if that's got something to do with making sure they don't carry on a custom that they had prior, where they're thinking they're using magic or other deities for their harvest rather than following the law and gaining the blessings of keeping the law. So that's just really, I'm just throwing it out there that it's not it wasn't an uncommon practice in that day and time, and it's a pagan practice, and so we see that
It would make sense. I mean, they're just getting out of Egypt. It would be the perfect time for Yahuwah to, address certain things like that and be like, all right, you need to stop. You can't be doing that. It kind of goes along with the same thing with the other pagan practices, consuming blood and, don't eat meat with blood in it, and all the other practices he tells them not to do that have a lot to do with worship, like cutting yourselves for the dead and all that. Once we get into Leviticus, you're going to see more and more commandments he's given them that have to do with the pagan customs. So that would make sense to me. That would definitely make sense to me, especially if it's a historical fact that's what was going on back then. That was like a legit pagan custom. It would make sense to me. But yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I know there's some people that still adhere to the false interpretation of that, and they won't have cheeseburgers, they won't mix meat with their dairy, and so I just wanted to kind of set the record straight on the context of that commandment. And yeah, so yeah, all right, so let me see here. I think we're up to now, we're going to be starting a new recording here because I'm going to be doing the prophets portion now in Jeremiah 18. So anyway, I think there's nothing else I wanted to touch on from that last chapter. So I'm going to start a new live stream.